Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Ref the District's QB1 Press Your Luck, where we see who we have on our top 10 list for QB1 for the Washington Commanders. Guys, I'm telling you, word's getting out there. It's Sam Howell. Everyone's reminding us Sam Howell's going to be QB1. We get that. We get that. We really, really do. But we got to, especially now with Eric Bieniemy as the offensive coordinator, we got to leave no stone unturned.
There you go.
So it is what it is. And so we are going to continue pressing our luck, at least here for the next couple of weeks to see. And then we'll be talking some QB stuff as we lead up. This video and this series is sponsored by Don't Sleep Energy.
So speaking of Don't Sleep Energy, me being a bartender / bar owner, I have a 5 o'clock happy hour crowd that comes in from like 5 to 7, usually older crowds. So, but they can be a little hectic now. They know how to party. So 7 o'clock kids, you get that like, man, I'm ready to go home. I got 3 hours left of my shift. Well, I pull out a Don't Sleep Energy drink. It's better than any other caffeine thing out there. Sugar-free. It's great. I pop that bad boy open, ready to go for the late night crowd coming in between 8 and 11 or whatever. Good to go. To revitalize me. So don't sleep. Be great.
Do you have the sugar-free or do you like the regular?
Sugar-free.
Sugar-free seems to be really popular.
Sugar and the caffeine, that's
a little much.
It's a little much.
Get that energy boost for you.
Yeah, man.
Good deal. Yep. Don't sleep. Be great. Well, Trev, you pressed your luck last week. I pressed my luck last week. Let's let Stoner.
Come on, Stoner.
All right, here we go. So go ahead and get it going. Here we go. No whammies. I mean, there's nobody really left, but let's see what we got here. And stop.
Teddy Two Gloves. Teddy Bridgewater. A choice, I suppose. He is one of the ones out of like the 15 or so names that we had. But that's interesting. Trev, I think you've been historically down on Teddy Bridgewater anytime we've brought up his name any time within this last season or so. Are you still down on him right now? How do you feel about Teddy?
He wears 2 gloves, first of all.
Why does he do that, by the way?
I
just always wondered that.
I don't know. I'm good. He's a backup's backup quarterback at best now, and that's kind of like due to his horrific knee injury he suffered coming out of when he was at Minnesota, because he was really good at Louisville and came out of college, but it's supposed to be like a really good quarterback in the NFL, but that changes everybody's career, and it definitely did for him. So I'm good on it. I mean, 4 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. He wears 2 gloves. He might be good for 1 game, and the next game he'll either get hurt or he'll just have a horrible game. So it's like, sorry.
Did the Dolphins make the playoffs this year?
They did. They lost Buffalo in the playoffs.
And Tua missed 2 starts for sure.
Yeah.
For the playoffs. And I think he there were like 3 other games that he was knocked out of. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So isn't that exactly what Teddy Bridgewater is supposed to do? Is to come in and replace the franchise guy and just keep them afloat? I'm not saying
I mean, he did lose both the games that he started, but
yeah, he did. But he didn't throw up all over himself. And he came in those other 3 games, and I don't think they went 0-5 in games that he appeared in. So I think I get it, Trev. You don't want him to be your starter. But if we're talking about maybe being that bridge guy, that name fits him perfectly, I'm all for him being a bridge quarterback because he has everything that you would want in a backup. He's smart. He's a little bit athletic. He doesn't throw up all over himself when he goes out there. And he just keeps your team afloat while your franchise guy's healing from injury.
He did that in Miami because of the weapons he had around him. Before Miami, where was he? Did he keep that team afloat? Where was he before Miami?
He was in New Orleans.
Yeah. Well, I think he was in Denver.
Oh yeah, that's right. He had that 1 year stint in Denver. Yeah.
He was okay.
Stop it.
He was okay. I think he had 18 and 7 were his touchdown to interception.
Did they make the playoff?
No, they went 7-7 in his
They
start.
went what?
I mean, that's what he is.
Yeah, exactly.
That
We've had that. No, we're good. Let's go.
Well, so I do want to clarify one thing here because
Yeah.
Stoner, you're leaning heavily into he would help keep the franchise afloat type deal, and,
Talk to him,
and we mentioned the 0-2, and you're like, well, they didn't lose every game he came into. You're right, they did beat Buffalo in week 3 when he came in and he threw 2 passes and didn't complete any of them. They lost the other 4 games he came into.
But hey, I stand by my statement. He didn't lose all 5.
You're standing by yourself.
Just want to point that out there. But to kind of, now that I've kind of dug into you a little bit, I do want to talk. He did have a stint in Carolina where they went 4-11 before Denver too. So I mean, he's been bouncing around. I don't know why I went all the way back to 2019 with New Orleans. I think that's because that's when I last remember him.
Yeah.
You know,
and what did he do in New Orleans?
New Orleans, he was 5-0.
He had a 5-0 stint when Breeze went down.
And he was comeback player of the year that well, at least he was 5th in voting that year. Sorry.
So that was 4 years ago. 4 teams. How many teams?
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a long time ago, Trav. And I'm not trying to say I'm excited about Teddy Bridgewater here. I'm just trying to point out, like, I was actually excited for Teddy Bridgewater coming into the NFL. He kind of had a rough, start, but then that second season, I felt like he was going to start being on the rise, and then he gets injured in 2017 and completely just derailed who he was. Kind of reminds me a little bit of RG3, right? Where you have this just, wonderful young player who's exciting to watch and, looks like you're going to be, watching this player for a decade, gets injured and then falls off the face. Teddy Bridgewater actually fought back and became a starter in a couple of places. And RG3 just kind of stuck around as a backup. And Teddy Bridgewater, I think at this point of his career, especially if he can't do it in Miami, is a backup quarterback, right? Like he's just not starter material at this
That's
point.
correct.
He's he is a QB2. And if you're going to use him as a bridge QB, I think that's fair. I just don't see him beating out someone like Sam Howell here. I mean, I've kind of played my hand way early when we built these lists. I told you anyone past Sam Howell is not beating him out. He is not going to beat Sam Howell as QB1, and Teddy Bridgewater is there for me. I mean, he is number 9 on my list. And again, I'm not excited about him, but if he came here, I don't think that this offense is going to implode. I think that especially with Eric Bieniemy, that you at least have some familiar things that he can bring in, and he's a vet savvy, very smart individual. So
I think it's fair to say that none of us want him competing for the starting job. Okay. But let's just kind of look at it at this point, since we know that nobody wants him as the starter. Let's just start looking at him as QB2. And I think he would be the perfect QB2 because he's been QB2 in many places. And he understands that role at this point in his career. I mean, he's been QB1 in many different places as well. And he hasn't been able to kind of get over that hump, probably because of the injury, number 1. And then number 2, he's just kind of his limitations have been figured out by everybody. So that's who he is. He's a QB2. And I think he would be great QB2 here. He wouldn't threaten QB1, Sam Howell.
No.
Right? But he'd be confident.
This isn't QB2 press your luck.
I know.
QB1 press your luck.
QB1, I don't want him anywhere near my team. If we're talking QB, that's why I want.
Are you sure you don't have him ranked at all on your?
No, I have him ranked, but I have him ranked 10th.
Yeah, but that's not any. That's it's a 10-foot pole, sure, but that's still you listed him. You had a choice not to list him, and there's some names that you left out, like Gardner Minshew.
Yeah.
That you would prefer Teddy Bridgewater over Gardner Minshew.
100 times out of 100.
Andy Dalton.
Yes.
Sam Darnold.
Yes.
Cooper Rush.
Yes.
Like these are the names that you had left off, and there's half a dozen other backup quarterbacks that are probably out there that
all those guys
you prefer Teddy Bridgewater as a QB1 over any of those.
Yeah, all those guys you mentioned, other than maybe Andy Dalton, But Andy Dalton, I don't know how old is he? 46 this year. I don't know how old he is, but he's older. He's probably the same age as Bridgewater. But all of those guys, he's had more success in the NFL than any of those guys that you just mentioned. I mean,
How has he had more
something
success,
games,
bro?
He's won like 30 something games as a starter. So just that alone, again, not Andy Dalton, but the Gardner Minshews and the Cooper Rushes and the other garbage that you mentioned, he's won more than them. He's had more experience. He's not a guy that he's going to go out. He's not a guy who's going to go out there and you're just going to say, "Uh-oh, what's going to happen here?" He's not that guy.
Yes.
He's a guy who is competent and can fill in when needed. But that's it. I
forgot how young Teddy Bridgewater is too, by the way. He's only 30 years old.
Yeah,
he came in pretty early. By the way, just to close that loop on that one, Andy Dalton's 35. So
he's a lot older than
he's
okay.
Yeah, significantly.
Yeah.
In NFL years, significantly. Yeah. So QB1, you said you're out. I said I'm out. Louis at least had him ranked. You didn't have him ranked at all, Trev. So you would prefer some of these other QBs to be a QB1 over. Why is that?
Well, because he's 30 years old and he's beat up. He wears 2 gloves. Why are you wearing 2 gloves as a quarterback, bro?
Is this the small hands thing? I'm sure you can look it up. Someone's gonna.
I don't know, but like he's been beat up ever since that horrific knee injury.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he filled in for Drew Brees, won 5 games in a row. Cool, but so did Taylor Heineke for us. So it's like, if we have a bridge quarterback, I'd rather take a younger quarterback that maybe with like a Sam Darnold, who was a starter, but he still has a higher ceiling than Teddy Bridgewater, that could be a great competition for Sam Howell and maybe be a backup quarterback too for Sam or whatever. But I'm just over these has-been quarterbacks that had the light at one point. It's not there anymore, and they're still just clawing and scratching to fight. And it's just like, bro, give it up.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
You know,
he's not great.
And
he's pretty good.
He wouldn't even be if he was our bridge quarterback, as injury prone as he is. Who's our quarterback 2 now? Like, he wouldn't last the whole season as our bridge quarterback anyway. So why would he even take that chance on it?
Well, okay, bridge quarterback as in waiting for our next quarterback.
Yeah.
Right?
But like,
I mean, I wouldn't hate it. There's a chance that he gets hurt, but it's not
with the weapons we have. It's like a waste of our weapons then, bro.
Yeah, but again, we're not talking about QB1 here. We're just talking about we
are talking about QB1.
But we've all established that we don't want him as QB1.
I know, but you said you would take him as a bridge quarterback, which means he would be QB1 this year. And I wouldn't want that anyway, because he wouldn't last the whole season.
I will say this in his defense. I'm pretty much only taking his defense here because everyone's trying to talk bad about him. But if he were QB1 here, I don't think so. Yes, the offense isn't going to be very exciting, Trev. You're absolutely right. But the offense also isn't going to completely fumble itself. Denver might not have went 500 with him. But I mean, he still threw for 3,000 yards, 18 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. When Carolina went 4-11, he was 15 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but threw for 3,700 yards. And the completion percentage here is worthwhile to take a look at. He was 69% in Carolina, 66, nearly 67% in Denver. And so, like, there's some competent quarterback play. Not great. I mean, if you look at the QBR, I mean, he's hovering right around that 50 mark, which is an average QB. And so it's just like, he's not going to go out and win you games, but he's kind of one of those quarterbacks, like what people were talking about, like Alex Smith. Alex Smith was a winner. Jimmy G is a winner. Teddy Bridgewater might not be a winner in that regard, but he's also not a loser, right? He's not somebody who's going to go out and lose you games. He's just not going to be able to go out and win you games. You need we would need the defense. We would need some of these other playmakers. And so in that regard, I don't think that it's going to be a complete detriment to Washington if he ends up being a QB1 here. Detriment. I don't want him though.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with all of that. I mean, he's lost jobs to some of the worst quarterbacks around. I mean,
there's the icing on the cake right there, bro.
Yeah, Minnesota traded for Sam Bradford. They gave up a first-round pick for Sam Bradford. Remember, Bradford was in Philadelphia. We all forgot that Bradford was supposed to be the guy in Philadelphia, right? Minnesota traded a first rounder for Bradford to come and take over because of Bridgewater was still not recovered from his injury. He couldn't do anything with that. He lost out to Sam Darnold. Well, I mean, at least Sam Darnold was drafted when Teddy Bridgewater was there. And then in Carolina, when they gave him a 3-year, $60-something million contract in Carolina to be their guy, after a couple of years, you know what they did? They went out and got Sam Darnold. Right? That's how desperate Carolina was because they knew Teddy wasn't the guy. So and he barely beat out Drew Lock in Denver.
Oh my gosh.
So he's lost out to, or he's barely won against some of the worst quarterback play in the league. So that's who he is. So no, I don't want him anywhere near QB1, but I would bring him in as QB2. Bridge is maybe not the right word.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
But to be that guy to mentor professionally, right? Sam Howell. To be that guy who can come in a pinch if Sam Howell gets hurt, something like that. That's the kind of guy I want. I want a guy with experience, and I want a guy who has been around the league, and I want a guy who's competent at quarterback as my number 2, but will never threaten the number 1. And that's Teddy Bridgewater in a nutshell.
There we go.
All right. Well, that sounds like a Wednesday conversation. So we'll have to continue that conversation on a Wednesday. Of course, you can catch us live every Wednesday at 7:30 here on YouTube. Check us out for some Commander content always on Wednesday and every other time. If you liked this one, go ahead and give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and let us know in the comment section, where's Teddy Bridgewater on your list? Are you like Stoner and you don't want him, but you're still going to put him on the list? Or are you like Trev and you're going to actually stick to your word and don't want him and keep him off the list? Let us know in the comment section. Again, if you agree with Stoner, if you think that he'd be a good backup, put that in the comment section as well. But until next time,
Teddy Two Gloves.
Be a fan.
Hey, it's your boy, the Stoner on Ref the District. If you get a chance, check out some of our other stuff here that you see there. And always, always hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so that you are aware every time we go live, which is, of course, 7:30s Wednesdays. Check us out then, and check us out anytime. Until next time, be a fan.